Welcome friends. Today we'll be discussing about the skill attitude development. It is easy to fix knowledge and skill, but it is very difficult to fix attitude and trait. Knowledge is what doesn't know something, what we don't know something. Skill is can't do something. Attitude is doesn't agree with something, and trait is cannot be something. So it is a hierarchy of this knowledge, from knowledge to skill, skill to attitude, and some of the attitudes might become the traits of a person. Now, the external customer always will have as a strategy, a system, and people. So we have to deal with the attitudes. What is this attitude development? Attitude is one of the most important aspects of an individual's personality. Having the right attitude makes it all different. Here we will be discussing it aimed at identifying traits and habits for developing positive attitude, and the role and significance of possessing the right attitudes in one's outlook. Dear friends, we will be dealing with many of the aspects. Be your own fairy godmother, attitude development, comparing yourself with others, adjusting your attitude for success, developing your attitude among mentors, washing your brain, the psychology of attitude, how to adjust your attitude, attitude development, practice makes perfect, use your assets for attitude development, visualizing success, attitude development for a good attitude leads to success, attitude development as a positive social force, positive attitude development, and attitude development for settling intelligent goals. How do we think by becoming your own fairy godmother? Do you believe in magic? In fairy godmothers, in miracles, in Santa Claus, all these are the magic. Now, do we all believe in that? Probably not. Most adults do not. But there is an entity that contains more magic than all of these things, an entity that actually exists. That entity, believe it or not, is you. The fact is that you can give yourself gifts that no one else in the world can give you. Some of these so-called gifts include high self-esteem, tons of confidence in one's powers and capabilities, peace of mind, the ability to grow and develop as a person, and maintain a spiritual, physical, emotional, and financial balance. Dear friends, how do I begin giving myself such gifts? Might be a big question for you. Become your own fairy godmother. After all, that is who you are. The key is to first identify what traits you want to acquire and devote a significant portion of your mental energy to acquire the traits. Once you feel you have attained it, then it is time to go to your fairy godmother once more and find the next area of improvement. Always one question comes into our mind. Is there anything outside myself that can help me? Even if you have to spend a lot of money on that, do not fear. You are really spending the money on yourself and you are worth every penny of it. With a little bit of money and a strong will to develop and grow, it is pretty much guaranteed that you will develop skills and traits that will remain with you for the rest of your life and thereby increase its quality to a significant degree. Dear friends, we should know to help ourselves about our own career. The more you grow as a person, the more impact this will have on your professional life. All growth in the long run starts at home. Those who are big and strong enough to handle success are the ones who it will come to. Once you have attained that level of growth in your personal life, then you will become immensely successful in your chosen profession. So, how is this attitude development comparing yourself to others? Don't compare your life to others. You have no idea what their journey is all about. So, comparing yourself to others, where is your career going? This is the main question. This is a question that most professionals will ask themselves at one point or another in their lives. If we look at how we spend most of our time, the vast majority of us devote many of our waking hours to either achieving goals or relieving stress. The planning of time can be a successful activity for the achievement of goals. Some people, however, spend much of the time attempting to relieve stress. Achieving a balance between these two activities is key for attaining and maintaining a positive attitude. So, who are most people? We always talk most people do that. Who are these most people? The fact is that many people do the minimum it takes to just get by in life. It has been proven time and again that the more time one devotes to planning and thinking about one's goals, the further one's career and financial success goes. How do I take control of my destiny? This is a question every time we wake up and we think about it. This does not necessarily mean you should take time out from your busy schedule to become a fanatic when it comes to planning every single move. Chances are you have probably spent more time planning your next vacation than you have on plotting your next career move. So, adjusting your attitude for success. How do we do it? It is a productive workplace. If we convert our workplace as a productive workplace and the employee motivation is there, the most important, we also will have positive attitude. Adjusting our attitude for success, does the people around you affect your attitude? Yes or no? We cannot say yes, nor we can say no. Each individual has a choice in life. It is possible to allow outside factors to have an influence on our goals in life. They can have an impact in a negative way by letting people with bad attitudes play a dominant role in our lives, or we can eliminate those people altogether and focus on surrounding ourselves with positive influences. Everyone is a matter of, in fact, you are the master of his or her own atmosphere. Nobody else should be allowed to influence that. If you have a bad attitude, then everyone you live with or work with will notice, and this certainly does not endear you to them. A bad attitude is like a bad smell. It is something that people will go out of their way to avoid. This certainly is not going to do wonders towards the enhancement of your career. Are you a mood polluter? Mood polluters are those individuals whose mere presence destroys the atmosphere. If you think you might be a mood polluter, then one way of changing your ways is to utilize positive affirmation. This is a technique wherein you try to eliminate all the negative thoughts in your head and replace them with positive thoughts. Dear friends, the success model is, as we spoken, a knowledge, skills which will enhance your attitude and habits. Developing your attitude among mentors, friends for youth. Yes, developing how do I become like those I admire? We admire many people. We read about people and we admire how did that person do it? And why can't I do it? Not comparison. Everyone has a choice in life. It is possible to allow outside factors to have an influence on our thoughts, attitudes, and goals in life. Of course, seeing a tiger, a cat cannot have the scars. But it can, as we say, tiger is taught all the skills by a cat. But the cat did not teach one skill, that is climbing on the tree. That is a defense mechanism. In the same way, we can observe, we can appreciate, but some good things we can imbibe. Like they have an impact in a negative way by letting underachieving, degrading people with bad attitudes play a dominant role in our lives. Or we can eliminate those people altogether from our lives and focus on surrounding ourselves with more positive influences. Each individual is the master of his or her own environment, we said, so nobody else should be allowed to influence that. How do I surround myself with mentors? The best way to succeed in any kind of business is to surround oneself with highly successful individuals who are currently operating in that field. Those individuals can be thought of as mentors, people you can turn to as role models and guidance throughout your career. Dear friends, washing your brains. Wash it. Before we used to wash, but today it is in the washing machine. Just put it and wash it, churn it, and it goes on and it will be out, whatever negative attitude is in our brain. Washing your brain, is washing brain good? The dictionary defines washing as a means of purifying or cleansing. Our brains are undoubtedly tools that need a good washing every now and again. Not only should they be washed, they should also be maintained. Consistent washing is vital for the maintenance of a house and a body. It is also vital for the maintenance of a brain. Dear friends, washing brains for a good thing is always good. But how does my brain get dirty? We are saying washing brains. So when will we wash our brain? If only our brains get dirty. We cannot control this situation in taking charge and deciding what you allow inside your brain, effectively washing it, or allow the world to decide what goes into your brain, which effectively makes it dirty. The answer to this little riddle is simple. After all, who do you think cares more about your brain? You are the world. How, you may ask, does one go about nurturing and cultivating a positive attitude? The answer is simple: auto-suggestion. Yes, auto-suggestion is very important. We should always suggest ourselves. The psychology of attitude. So what is attitude then? Again we talk about attitude, and again when a question comes, then what is an attitude? Attitude is a word, how you express your likes and dislikes towards particular people, things and occurrences. Attitudes can be positive, negative or neutral. It also is common to have more than one of these feelings towards something. When that happens, attitudes are typically derived from judgments which everyone makes it. In psychology, it is believed that attitudes are rooted in an ABC approach, that is affect, behavioral change and cognition. Everywhere ABC are there. We have to start with ABC. So that is affect, behavioral and cognition. How does one change their attitude? Experimental research was conducted in the areas as a means of understanding the process of attitude change. Target characteristics, source characteristics, message characteristics and cognitive routes. Target characteristics are those characteristics that refer to the individual who is receiving and then processing a message. One of these characteristics is intelligence. Then there are what is known as source characteristics. Attractiveness, expertise, and trustworthiness are all major sources of characteristics. Then there are message characteristics. The exact nature of the particular message can play a major role in persuading individuals. Finally, there are cognitive roles. This describes a process where a message appeals to a particular individual, so cognitive evaluation, and that helps them change their attitude towards a particular subject. Dear friends, how does attitude affect one's career? It is widely considered key by employers to have people in the workplace who have positive attitudes. What are implicit attitudes? A lot of research has been done in recent years on implicit attitudes. These are unconscious attitudes, but they have major effects on our working life. Implicit attitudes are identified through specific, sophisticated tests that measure people's response times to stimuli. Now, how do we adjust to such an attitude? Do you pay attention to your attitude with an eye on improving it? Some people say, yeah, I am like that. No, that is not a good attitude. We have to change it if it is a wrong attitude. There are many ways of learning how to handle your emotions. The best known technique of dealing with problems is to stop everything you are doing, breathe deeply, and count to 10. The self-help world as positive affirmation. This technique teaches you how to silence your inner critic and listen to what the more positive voices inside us are trying to tell us as we go about our daily endeavors. Making positive affirmations to yourself throughout the day, even when you are not feeling stressed or angry, is a great way of combating that inner critic, or if not combating him, then at least tempering his voice with positive reinforcement. So, how do reasons are low or no development? We have to understand how we can do this. So, do you ever seek advice from your colleagues on improving your attitude? Did you ever do that, or did you ever give advice for improving? The people who are close to you are the ones most familiar with your temperament, and therefore the people who know you best might give you an advice on improving in that area. Learning to accept the fact that we depend on other people for growth and guidance is the first step towards developing a healthy attitude. You might feel that relying excessively on other people intrudes on your sense of interdependence and freedom. It is natural to feel this way to a certain extent. Dear friends, do you know what you want out of life? These types of folks want to be something more than person who just gets by. How do I raise above mediocrity? We should raise our level. How can I get to the point where I have more time, money, and energy than I actually need? No one is born with a winning attitude. This is a skill that is learned over time and by transforming our negative experiences into learning experiences. Are you a victim of bad luck? When things do not work out, we blame other people around them, or they might claim that they never had the luck that others around them might have had. We all know that type. The key towards becoming successful in life lies in knowing what direction you are traveling in and recognizing that the road to accomplishing your goal might not be completely smooth. Dear friends, attitude development practice makes perfect because it is a skill. So, practice. Now, can practice help improve my attitude? You might ask this question. Yes, dear friends. While attaining a degree of strength and endurance is indeed important to any profession, this is not the end of practicing, it is but one component of the end goal. After all, what good is having a lot of strength and endurance if it just means you can be a mediocre or an okay for a longer period of time? The point is that quality practicing is a lot more important than a time based quantitative approach to practicing. How can I develop better habits? Not only is this essential for becoming better at your chosen vocation, but it can also help you get rid of bad habits that are ultimately self defeating. How we practice and exercise, both in a mental and physical fashion, determines how well we perform once we test our skills in a real world environment. Building up their endurance and strength before they are able to attain the minimum level of a competency on the playing field and when they come before their instruments. So, how can I test myself? Go on putting a question to yourself, then your attitude will change. One method of making sure that you are putting your practice and your mental exercises to good use is to admire tests to oneself every once in a blue moon. So, this is the most important. What if I feel like I am not moving forward fast enough? Motivation must always be tempered to a certain extent by realism. So the only thing that is left then is to figure out the exact path you will take towards achieving your goal and thus attaining the level of success that you already know you deserve. Use your assets for your attitude development. Dear friends, attitudes, competencies, and knowledge. So use your assets. The dictionary defines an asset is a valuable or a useful thing or quality. So your other qualities you should use to make your attitude develop. How do I use my assets then? Procrastination is an incredibly bad ingredient for success. So next step is constant movement. So don't procrastinate. Where are my assets? When we are talking so much about assets, you might have a question. Where are my assets? First off, you should take a good critical look at just where you are right now in terms of your professional life. Opportunities probably wait you. Now the goal is figuring out the best way of attaining them. Can others help me use my assets? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. The best way to succeed in any kind of business is to surround oneself with highly successful individuals who are currently operating in that field. Hanging out with less successful individuals ultimately strives your creativity and your growth as a human being and as a professional. Such individuals will not help you become successful. They will also help build your character and transform your attitude into a positive one. Dear friends, visualize your success. Visualizing success is the most important factor. So, all your dreams will come true only if you can picture in your mind all that you may be, and with your little time you will come to see that in the game of life your dreams will come true alive by thinking of the end results as if it had arrived, and that is a totally unique thought, and that should be your attitude. So visualize your success. Visualizing, we already spoke about it, is a technique which you can employ to improve your attitude and thus by attain success. How often should I practice visualization? If you want to get positive results, then you have to practice visualization a lot. How does it work for me? The key to visualization lies in remembering the simple fact that thoughts are objects. How long will it take visualization to work? In order for visualization to really work, your mind has to be fine-tuned time to know how to use it. Visualization is a process. It is not merely a means to end. It is why it is always good to start slow. In the beginning, use visualization as a tool for achieving small things. Whatever problems you may have in your professional life, try to visualize it as otherwise without those problems. So, attitudes changes everything. So, successful people have in common. When looking for a definition for success, it is a good idea to take a close look at the most successful people out there. What do they all have in common? They all have positive attitudes. Yes, so plan your career. The truth is, a lot of people tend to live directionless lives. They spend the vast duration of their time on this planet wandering around looking for a life to live, a goal to pursue, a dream to follow. These people are rarely, if ever, successful. Most of these people wind up having bad attitudes. When things do not work out for them, they blame other people around them and maybe even blame society for holding them back. Dear friends, what is luck? We already said luck also helps you knowing where you are going. From the outset, we will help you prepare for those opportunities, moments. What if I do not want to know what I want out of life? Yes, there are many people say, we are not bothered what we want to have from life. Let us not have it. It's not a positive attitude, dear friends. No. Close your eyes and imagine all the things you will do for the next few years. And then think of it and say, okay, to get all those things, you have to work. And if you have earn money, and if you have to earn money, you have to work. So go into a positive way of visualizing your thing. A good attitude leads to success, dear friends. So success is take stock, focus on the right solution, take collective action, monitor and adjust, and maintain momentum. So have it. What is the secret to success? Numerous secrets are there in attaining success, and one of them is to having a proper positive attitude. So do you want a lot of money? Do you want to be the top boss at your office? Or do you want to fame, fortune in your career? Do you want to be able to eventually travel the world without having to worry about expenses? So what is that you need? How do I begin to change my attitude? So this is realizing where our negative thoughts come from can help us get it to the point where we are able to erase them. What do I do once I have made an attitude adjustment? Remember what you are up against. Mass apathy. Perhaps your friends and loved ones will not understand the new way. So, positive social force. So, understand, do other people notice my attitude? How can I improve my attitude? Does my attitude impact my working environment? All these are the questions which we have to answer. Can my attitude change the world? Yes, with positive attitude development. You can change all. You are always there for us. You are the best. So, what is the importance? Development importance is to find yourself thinking such thoughts as what if I fail or I could never accomplish then it is not a positive attitude. You have to have a positive attitude. How does sleep impact attitude? If you have difficulty sleeping at night, you may want to try one or several of the following. Try to decrease activities that require a lot of mental energy in the evenings. Make plans for the following day. Take a hot bath before you go to sleep each night. Dim the lights and listen to soothing music. Do not read or watch TV in bed. Why? Because then you will not have a proper attitude, because sleep does have a good impact on the attitude. So, develop a healthy attitude. You should keep in mind that is the simple things in life and provide us with a most pleasure and stimulation. Listen to your favorite songs, go to a movie. Helping others also help us maintain a positive attitude towards life. So, how do I improve my day? Yes, day to day life is the most important aspect. The most positive aspects of your thought will always come from a place of self love. Learn to accept your shortcomings as a human being, and you will position yourself on the road towards attaining a positive attitude. A good way of keeping one's inner critic in check is to keep a journal that records all the negative thoughts you can remember from that day, or erase the negative thoughts from your mind. Try to think a flip side for each of these thoughts, effectively turning a negative into a positive, and write that down next to each of the negative thoughts. Dear friends, setting intelligent goals for developing attitudes. Now, this is a very important thing. Life is not a fairy tale, so you should have an intelligent goals. How am I doing in my life? If you feel you are happy with your life, you are having a good positive attitude. But just contentment doesn't give an attitude. Contentment is one aspect of a positive attitude. Realistic ones. What kind of goals should be realistic? Should I listen to others when setting my goals? Not always, but you can take an advice. What if my goals are too high? See, too high goals and not working for it doesn't happen. Then you will be depressed. Have good goals and work for with positive attitude, you are going to achieve it. Here are to develop certain sustain a positive attitude. How you can do it? A passion, create a success habit, acknowledge, assess and release positive affirmation, visualization, surround yourself with positive people. Dear friends, let us do a small exercise. Fill the worksheet. Thank you. Welcome friends. Under this self-integration session, we will be discussing today on conflict management. Now, conflict management means there are many factors that can cause conflicts. A conflict may arise because of personality clashes, poor communication, change of responsibilities, change of leadership, dissatisfaction, disagreement, and poor management style. Although it is the best to be able to avoid and prevent conflicts, it is really something that is considered inevitable, especially in environments where two or more people are working together, hence the need for effective conflict management. Conflicts can be very difficult to deal with, especially if you do not have sufficient experience in managing people and managing yourself. It is not rare for managers to get into a conflict or a disagreement with his or her subordinates It is also not uncommon for employees to get into conflicts with each other. The truth is that conflicts are a normal part of business operations, and these things are bound to happen sooner or later. Dear friends, the objective of the training is, because it's a self-paced training, you will be able to gain a complete understanding of the reasons why conflicts arise, master the warning signs of conflicts, know the different types of conflicts and how to deal with each one, learn some tips on how to avoid conflicts, understand the common reasons why team conflicts arise and know how to handle them, learn essential conflict relationships for both managers and employees. We need to know. What we need to know is, why do conflicts arise, conflicts indicators, constructive conflicts, destructive conflicts, how to avoid conflicts, standard steps to resolve conflicts, practical conflict resolution skills, conflict meditation, managing team conflicts, common conflicts during project management, conflict resolutions for employees and managers, and how to maintain harmony at workplace and conflict counseling. All these things we should know. So, conflict management situations are power based development, relational acceptance, meaningful communications, assumptions, analysis, objective identifications, attentiveness in selection, action feedback, and feedback review, and conflict oversight. All this will be interchangeable and interconnected. They are interconnected and intraconnected. So, why do conflicts arise? Conflicts can be internal when the conflict is only within the individual. It is external if it is between two or more individuals or between groups. Some people are not aware of the need and react negatively toward the situation unconsciously. Some people know what they want and would work hard at achieving such goal even to the point of going through conflict. Dear friends, there are many reasons why conflicts develop. Organizational or workplace conflict is rooted from poor communication, weak leadership, change in leadership, dissatisfaction with management style, and seeking power. Dear friends, there are three elements involved in the organizational conflict: power, organizational demands, and self-worth. These components must be aptly matched through important organizational process and decisions to resolve a conflict. So we have to know the effect of these conflicts. The existence of conflict in an organization may have both positive and negative results on the people involved and the general situation. So, dear friends, the indicators, what are these conflict indicators? Conflict is a natural disagreement and a clash of interests, ideas, goals, and values of individuals and groups. Once any form of dispute or difference arise, conflict is bound to occur. This has always been a natural part of life in every individual, just as success and achievements are. We all deal with conflict at home, in our society, and in the workplace. The quick resolution of an existing conflict depends on how a person or a group handles the situation. The conflict is and what it is not. It is important to identify the nature of conflict and its characteristics. Personal or intrapersonal conflicts arise from within the individual. The signs of conflict has to be noted. One good way to deal with conflict is to understand how it arises. Since you deal with fellow workmates every day, you should be sensitive enough and be keen in identifying when a particular situation would grow into a possible conflict. There are many signs and indicators of a rising conflict. Varying responses to conflict. Knowing how to analyze and recognize the response style of your co-workers is also a key factor in identifying conflict. Constructive conflict. Now, the response classification of styles is to be taken care. Now, constructive conflict, seeing smiles and hearing friendly voice are what we really want to witness, not criticisms and confrontations. But even with the existence of conflict, we can turn the situation into a positive one and learn from it. Conflict may be unproductive at times, but it is also constructive when properly handled. A healthy argument is educational and stimulating. It even helps individuals enhance their abilities and make personalities grow more maturely. Learning the sign of constructive conflict. Unlike a destructive nature of conflict, constructive conflict is not identified on the loudness or intensity of people's voices when arguing or on the glaring look of people's faces. Conflict itself already means a clash or a disagreement, so you cannot expect people in a conflict to be smiling at each other and showing pleased, blissful dispositions. How to create a productive conflict management. Carefully choose the words you use and make sure that you convey what you want to mean well. Avoid rude behavior, excuse me, and condensing remarks in order to gain mutual respect. If the situation is becoming negatively intense, drop the argument and set another time to discuss the problem instead. So, benefits of constructive conflict. Being productive in nature, a constructive conflict generates high quality decisions in the workplace. With respect in viewpoints, everyone feels heard and respected. This promotes a diplomatic environment among work colleagues. When employees are exposed to a healthy kind of argument, they learn to become more mature professionals, especially in dealing with problems at work and adaptness in making decisions. Conflict resolution, conflict avoidance, and controversy management. This communicates both breeds and resolves conflict and controversy. Learn how to effectively resolve conflict and manage organizational controversy. There are keys for conflict resolution, conflict avoidance problems, and controversy management. There are 4 factors that must be present in your workplace for your employees to be happy and motivated at work. Your employees need respect, to be members of the in crowd, to have the opportunity to grow and develop, and access to reasonable leadership. Respect the fundamental right of every employee in every workplace. If people feel as if they are treated with respect, they usually respond with respect and dignified actions. Part of respect is praise and feedback, so people know how they are doing at work. Employees want to feel as if they are members of the in crowd. This means that they know and have access to information as quickly as anyone else in your workplace. Employees want to learn new skills, develop their capabilities, and grow their knowledge and careers. Making developmental opportunities available to each employee demonstrates your commitment to helping them develop their careers. They appreciate this. Employees do want leadership. They want a sense of being on the right track, going somewhere that has been defined and is important. They like being part of something bigger than themselves. Excuse me. Employees like to know that someone who is trustworthy is in charge. If these four factors exist in every workplace, productivity, motivation, and happiness would occur. Everybody needs a little respect. Everybody needs a little time. Everybody needs a little respect. You know when you have respect. You know when you don't. But what is respect really? How is respect demonstrated at work? You can demonstrate respect with simple yet powerful actions. These ideas will help you avoid needless, insensitive, unmeant disrespect too. Treat people with courtesy, politeness, and kindness. Encourage co-workers to express opinions and ideas. Listen to what others have to say before expressing your viewpoint. Use people's ideas to change or improve work. Let employees know you used their idea or better yet. Encourage the person with the idea of implement the idea. Never insult people, name call, disparage or put down people of or their ideas. Do not nitpick, constantly criticize over little things, belittle, judge, demean or patronize. A series of seemingly trivial actions added up over time constitutes bullying. Treat people the same no matter their race, religion, gender, size, age, or country of origin. Implement policies and procedures consistently so people feel that they are treated fairly and equally. Treating people differently can constitute harassment or a hostile work environment. Include all co-workers in meetings, discussions, training, and events. While not every person can participate in every activity, do not marginalize, exclude, or leave any one person out. Provide an equal opportunity for employees to participate in committees, task forces, or continuous improvement teams. Solicit volunteers and try to involve every volunteer. Praise much more frequently than you criticize. Encourage praise and recognition from employee to employee as well from the supervisor. The golden rule does apply at work, or as professional speaker Charles said, implement of platinum rule. Treat others as they wish to be treated. There are many other ways to demonstrate respect at work. Dear friends, now that is a constructive conflict. Then what is a destructive conflict? Conflict is inevitable, yet it can be controlled and minimized. How an individual or a group responds to conflict and the behavior towards the situation determines the negative or positive outcome of the disagreement. If conflict is mishandled or not properly managed by the parties involved, then an unproductive and unlikely result will generate. There are many factors causing destructive conflict. A very common factor is power struggle or a principle that they can win a certain issue that is of great importance to them. Lack of skill is managing conflict is also another factor. Destructive conflicts are also caused by lack of empathy or the inability to understand the point of view of the other. The feeling of hopelessness also makes people resort to negative conflict. Recognizing destructive conflict. One is the attitude of confrontation, dominance, or aggression toward the other party. You might be in a disagreement with a co worker who starts to talk you over or hurt you verbally. Beware, as this is becoming a negative conflict, or a boss might start to abuse his power and manipulate the situation. Managing destructive conflict. A way to handle destructive conflict is to acknowledge the problem and make use of power and influence positively to resolve it. Persuasion will be an effective approach to let the other realize that both parties should gain ground. Specific trust building and maintaining steps. You cannot always control the trust you experience in your larger organization, but you can act in ways that promote trust within your immediate work environment. There are many ways to create and preserve a trust work environment, like hire and promote people who are capable of forming positive, trusting interpersonal relationships with people who report to them to supervisory positions. Develop the skills of all employees and especially those of current supervisors and people desiring promotion in international relationship building and effectiveness. Keep staff members truthfully informed. Provide as much information as you can comfortably divulge as soon as possible in any situation. Expect supervisors to act with integrity and keep commitments. If you cannot keep a commitment, explain what is happening in the situation without delay. Current behavior and actions are perceived by employees as the basis for predicting future behavior. Supervisors who act as if they are worthy of trust will more likely be followed with fewer complaints. Confront hard issues in a timely fashion. If an employee has excessive absences or spends work time wandering around, it is important to confront the employee about these issues. Other employees will watch and trust you more. Protect the interest of all employees in a work group. Do not talk about absent employees, nor allow others to place blame, call names, or point fingers. Display competence in supervisory and other work tasks. Know what you are talking about, and if you don't know, admit it. Listen with respect and full attention. Exhibit empathy and sensitivity to the needs of staff members. Talk thoughtful risks to improve service and products for the customer. If you are a supervisor or a team member, set high expectations and act as if you believe staff members are capable of living up to them. Dear friends, there are many benefits of conflict resolutions. This century's workplace makes conflict resolutions more important, but also more difficult. Team or work cell environment create more conflict as people with different opinions must choose to work together, often in close quarters. Empowering work environments in which the traditional reliance on a manager to solve conflicts and make decisions bring co-workers into more frequent conflict as they must work issues out of themselves. Conflict resolution also causes people to listen to and consider different ideas, enables people to increase their alternatives and potential paths, results in increased participation and more ownership of and commitment to the decisions and goals of the group or person. The goal of the people or the team is not to eliminate conflict but to learn how to manage conflict constructively. Actively managed conflict has many positive results for your organization. When people can disagree with each other and lobby for different ideas, your organization is healthier. Disagreements often result in a more thorough study of options and better decisions and direction. So, knowing how to raise issues and participate in meaningful conflict is a key to your success in work and in life. Take these tips for help. Create a work environment in which healthy conflict is encouraged by setting clear expectations. Reward, recognize, and thank people who are willing to take a stand and support their position. If you experience little dissension in your group, examine your own actions. Expect people to support their opinions and recommendations with the data and create a group norm that conflict around ideas and decisions is expected and that personal attacks are not tolerated. Provide employees with training in healthy conflict and problem solving skills. Look for signs that a conflict that is about a solution or direction is getting out of hand. Hire people who you believe will add value to your organization with their willingness to problem solve and debate. Make executive compensation dependent upon the success of the organization as a whole as well as the accomplishment of individual goals. If you are using all of the first 9 tips and healthy conflict is not occurring, Care Addison, as he says, the say is better expert in how you persuade, resolve conflict, sell and build relationships. Resolving everyday conflicts is the most important thing. Welcome back, friends. Resolving everyday conflicts sooner. The first person can choose to observe the situation coolly, looking for ways to settle. The second person in the situation can also use that pivotal point to stay open. Actions will have less effect in the situation. So, connect with others through what they most value. There are 2 kinds of pain of risk and pain of regret. Say what you want others to hear only after they have seen what they need to see in you. Round trip to resolution. In conflict, we usually get more clear and also more intense about what we don't want rather than what we want. We simply react, we don't choose how we want to act. With a round trip, you can salvage the various resolutions and relationships. Dear friends, there are many ways. The first one is tell yourself the truth. Then reach out to the other side. Listen attentively. prove you are fair. You can stop the conflict from escalating. So you can do that also in a methodological way. Everyone needs to be free, heard before they are listened. So the more opportunities you provide to others to participate in a situation along the way, the more likely they will stay with you to ultimately find a solution. Demonstrate continued goodwill. Stay flexible. Keep cool under the fire by keeping your bottom line on top of your mind. Honor everyone else's role in coming into terms. If it's very important that the resolution appears to be arrived at together, that's the most important bottom line. So, how to avoid conflicts? I always feel it is better to avoid conflicts. While there is a way to avoid conflict, especially if it is necessary and unproductive, do so and be practical. There are many ways to do so depending on the situation. In the workplace conflict, for example, the approach to resolving it should not be personal. A diplomatic and civil way to settle it is preferable. Avoiding conflict by embracing it. A working individual may find it hard to accept conflict if he is being passive. Expect for such situation to happen at any time while you are working with other people, but do not go looking for one. You must keep a level of professionalism by not looking for trouble. Being aggressive sometimes helps, but being overly aggressive is no longer productive. Listen. Some more. Listen to the other person and understand what they feel is a way to mellow down growing hatred, anger, or other negative emotions that may hinder an amicable solution to the conflict. Seek to understand. For the members at work to create an ideal working environment, cordiality and friendliness among everyone should be maintained. We cannot just have things our way all the time, especially at work. We need to adhere to rules and follow certain process. Resolving everyday conflicts sooner must be the motto. So, have the things, keep cool under fire by keeping bottom line the top of your mind. So, conflict resolution is the most important. Peaceful conflict resolution. Respect others. Resolve with a methodological way. Analyze the conflict. Determine strategy or styles. There are 5 types of conflict management strategies based on a research. Avoid conflict. There are collaboration, compromise, competition, accommodation, and avoidance. This you can have conflict management styles like compromising, as we said, dominating, avoiding, obliging, or integrating too. Negotiate before, during, and after. The conflict resolution should identify the conflict as a person has experienced. Positive ways must be included. Negative ways like yelling, refusing to change or compromise, and refusing to work out the conflict should be avoided. Resolve, control emotions. Identify the reason for the conflict. Tell the person how you are feeling. Discuss with the person different alternatives. Practical conflict resolution skills now. Conceptual skills pertain to the individual's knowledge of the causes, styles, strategies, and ways in managing conflict. knowing how and why conflicts develop, when it normally happens, and how to resolve it are important concepts for conflict resolution. Skill competence is the acquisition of skills needed in conflict management. Communication skill is essentially ability considering the conflict in primarily verbal in nature. Conflict meditation. Now that's more important. Organization conflicts and mediation is the most important. Meditation is just keep quiet. But then conflict mediation is very important. You should know how to mediate. Manage team conflicts and manage diversity in a team. Conflict management strategies and inter-based relationship approach is very important. During the project management, you should know how to resolve the conflict. Potential sources of conflict also must be taken into care. People factor in organizational conflicts also should be taken care. Dear friends, poor interpersonal skills will not help you in conflict management. Conflict resolution for managers is set an example. Bring the conflict to a resolution. For employees, excuse me, dealing with employee-employer conflict, encouraging courtesy and professionalism, dealing with special ones. How to maintain harmony at workplace. Refrain from office gossip. Make an effort to adhere to company policy. Keep a cordial relationship with your colleagues. So, dear friends, let us do a small exercise filling the worksheet. Thank you. Welcome, friends. In the session of self-integration session, we'll be talking about emotional intelligence skills. Now, what is this emotional intelligence? For the long time, business organizations thought that the most important thing for their employees to have is a high IQ, that is intelligence quotient. But ever since the term emotional intelligence or EI was introduced, more and more companies have come to realize that it is just as important to employ people who have the ability to assess, perceive, control and influence their own emotions and that of others. Dear friends, there are many instances where one's EI will be put to good use in the workplace. Managers need to be able to effectively lead and manage their members. Employees need to build good working relationships with each other. And even the companies as a whole need to know how to interact with their employees and their customers in order to meet their goals. Needless to say, people with a high EI are more likely to succeed than those who have low EI. Dear friends, the training objectives for EI is to get clear understanding of the significance and meaning of emotional intelligence, know how to measure your own emotional intelligence, learn how to manage your emotions and enhance your emotional intelligence, learn how to manage conflicts in the workplace, learn how to build better relationships in the workplace, know how to develop your team's emotional intelligence. Dear friends, the aspects of emotional intelligence is to know what is emotional intelligence, what is constructive thinking, what is emotional intelligence and leadership, significance of emotions in decision making, significance of emotional intelligence at workplace, how to measure emotional intelligence, how to manage emotions, how to develop emotional intelligence, conflict management using emotional intelligence, building team emotional intelligence, how to manage emotional bias, importance of emotional intelligence and business relationship management. Dear friends, the emotional intelligence will help you to work with head plus heart. Yes, we need both head and heart to work on the emotional intelligence. Now, what is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is a term which is used to describe the ability or skill of an individual to influence the emotions within themselves as well as other people. Not only in a person able to influence these emotions, but they are also capable of managing and assessing them. Dear friends, the interpersonal awareness which tells us to have the commitment, decision making, empathy, self esteem, or motivation, all are also emotions within ourselves. The ability based model is to be able to perceive emotions, the ability to use emotions, the ability to handle emotions, and the ability to decipher emotions. Now, in this EI model, there are different types. This type of EI deals a lot with the dispositions associated with behavior, along with those that are self perceived. While the ability based model deals primarily with one's skills, this model deals with the perception one has their skills. So, self and social, regular and recognition, all the four are needed. What is constructive thinking? In order to understand constructive thinking, it is essential to understand emotions first. Many people feel that their emotions are a way in which they automatically react to circumstances. Most of these people are aware that it is possible for them to control their emotions as well as the ways in which they express them. But most of these people feel that there is no way for them to actually stop the emotions from occurring in the first place. Dear friends, the emotions do influence our decisions, our behavior, and our performance. So, when it is the emotional self awareness should be there, emotional expression should be there, emotional awareness of others, emotional reacting, emotional self management, emotional management of others, and emotional self control. All this are there in the self managed emotional model. Interpretation. The essence, the event which has transpired is still the same. Someone has stepped on your foot. The difference is that the automatic thought you have, also known as your interpretation, is the way in which you emotionally react to the event. Some would argue that only one of these interpretations is right while the other one is wrong. So there is thinking, emotional intelligence, and feeling, all are embedded in the emotions. So, train the experimental mind. The most important is the mind. The problem with IQ is that it has been too heavily emphasized in our culture. While IQ has its role in society, it also has many limitations, and until recently, these limitations were not properly addressed. There are many other abilities which one must have in order to have a happier well being, and many emotional researchers believe that constructive thinking is one of them. Emotional intelligence has laid down the foundation for a much more effective way of thinking. So, it might be we are excited, we are tender, sacred, angry, sad, and happy. Emotional intelligence and leadership. There is a connection between one's emotional intelligence and their ability to lead. Those who have higher than average EQ tend to be very skilled when it comes to management, putting people at ease, and finding a balance between work and their personal lives. So, dear friends, The emotional intelligence model will help you to get into the empathy, and then you have vision and values. So, let us understand the power of self awareness. The person who becomes angry easily is someone who generally does not have a great deal of self awareness. If you become very anxious when encountering difficult situations, then again this is a sign that you probably does not have a great deal of self-awareness. Being able to balance work and play is an extremely important component of emotional intelligence. Dear friends, new form of psychometric success provides you many of these levels. Straightforward and composed. Another emotional intelligence triad in a leader is their ability to be straightforward. Yes, you need to be very straightforward. Then you need to have the commitments. Significance of emotions in decision making. Emotions are best when they are left out of the decision making process. But due to the fact that humans are emotional creatures, it would be foolish and unwise to advocate people to get rid of their emotions. So we have to understand and have the emotional. So there should be a logical decision. Any decision you make in life should be based on logic and not on emotion. So, emotional intelligence gives you a way for thinking, like think like a computer now, because there is no emotion in the computer. A computer is an almost perfect decision maker. The reason why it is perfect is because the decisions it takes are based on 100% on logic. The computer is not emotional about the decision it makes. It does not worry about what others may think. So, emotional intelligence competencies need to be a self awareness, self regulation, self motivation, empathy, and nurture relationships. So, in the self awareness and management, connection, personal leadership, all this works on the emotional intelligence. Affirmative introspection, intercultural literacy, social architecture, and self governance will help in the emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is again and again we stress that it needs to have an empathy which will help them in social skills and motivation passion, which will inward again come together for the along with the self awareness to self regulation and self management. We did speak a lot about self management. Now, dedicated to improving children ability to success in life by developing their character, empathy, strength, happiness, confidence, and then leadership. Dear friends, perceiving emotions, using emotions, understanding emotions, and managing emotions is the essence, the model of emotional intelligence in a Meyer Salvik Crusoe said. Significance of emotional intelligence at workplace. Now, at workplace, you have increased team performance, improved decision making, increased personal well being, and reduced staff turnover, decreased occupational stress, increased leadership ability and effectiveness in a EQ high, both emotional cohesion and integration. Some argue that EQ is more important in the workplace than IQ. In the workplace, of course, we have been stressing IQ all these years. I feel along with IQ, EQ is also important. IQ, why it is important? Without a certain degree of qualification, we don't take people into corporates. But we don't judge their EQ. So we have to judge hereafter their EQ also. The emotional intelligence at work makes you definitely have these 5 components: self awareness, self regulation, motivation, empathy, and social skills. These five put together is an emotional intelligence. What is the 21st century workplace skills emphasize is, again, listening to the issues. You should have equally important organizational ability along with emotional intelligence. Build effective relationship through your EQ, because you will know your work style. You can assess others' work styles, adapt towards a mutual win, set relationship goals, and strengthen the relationship. And all this is, you can build it. EQ is a skill that can be developed. As IQ, just as IQ is set in stone, EQ is not set in stone either. It has to be developed. Emotional framework, as we have again and again said, self-awareness, self-management, social awareness, and relationship management put together to your EQ. How to measure emotional intelligence? There is a measurement. Now, if one way of analyzing EI is to study one's attunement to the social norms which surround them. Now, you can, multiple intelligences are measured in the same way. EQ is also measured. But then we have to understand factors which influence EQ. A person with a high EQ is very socially adept. Now, this means that one of the EQ is very unlikely to become addicted to any uncontrollable or controllable substances. Now, EQ, cognition, behavior, and competency forms a decision making and the superior performance. So, emotional intelligence is the ability to sense, understand, and effectively apply the power and acumen of emotions to facilitate high levels of collaboration and productivity. So, measurements of triads of emotional intelligence. In most cases, these triads can be analyzed. Like intelligence test, you can analyze. EI is also of individual based on their personality. We can have the 15 scales and measure the personality, the interest, how emotion capital model of emotional intelligence can work, help in the emotional intelligence, how to manage emotions. We are going on talking emotional intelligence. We cannot have emotional intelligence until we manage our emotions. So, understand that and manage your emotions and develop emotional intelligence. Now, psychological research and emotional intelligence is probably one of the most and advanced areas of research available today. So, we should try to get this. And what to be in self, we are going on talking about EI is self-awareness, social awareness, self-management, and relationship management. In self-awareness, what it is: emotions, self-awareness, accurate self-assessment, and self-confidence. In social awareness, empathy, organizational awareness, and service orientation. Self-management, of course, we did speak on self-management in a detailed way, where we talk about the emotional self-control, transparency, adaptability, achievement orientation, initiative, and optimism. And relationship management, developing others, inspirational leadership, change catalyst, influence, conflict management, teamwork, and collaboration. So all this put together. So there is a difference between thoughts and feelings now. IQ will help you in thoughts and EI will help you in feelings. So I feel like when a person is referring to his feelings, then it is often start off as a sentence by I feel. It is not a IQ, but it is a EQ. So skills, knowledge, values, self-image, triad drivers and motives and motive drivers all are helpful in conflict management. Also is used in the emotional intelligence. Dear friends, retaining competitive edge. Conflict is an issue that must be taken seriously by company leaders and upper management. So, the emotional intelligence will help you in using emotions, understanding emotions, managing emotions, and perceiving emotions. Resolving conflicts. Emotional intelligence will help the managers in resolving conflicts, and building team emotional intelligence is very important. So, goal focused coaching skills will be there. You can have the outcomes of the coaching, emotional intelligence. So, have personality traits, emotional intelligence, which will be mingled and have all the process. So, scenario based EQ learning. So, whatever we learn, we should have EQ also into the learning orientation. It's just not IQ is not enough. So, what are the other methods for building a team? EI is the management of self, management of relationship, as we said, social awareness and awareness of self. The culture, the basic cultural change brings emotional intelligence too. So, how can we manage emotional bias then? Emotional bias is as having a bias when it comes to the emotions of oneself when compared to the emotions of others. So think that if you think like this, if you feel like this, even others will feel in the same way. Role of self-confidence. Those who are self-confident, at least to a healthy degree, tend to be individuals who are very self-assured when it comes to their lives and their abilities. Dear friends, we recognize the emotions of others. Always recognize the emotions of others and try to avoid being biased towards others. So let us understand the importance of emotional intelligence. Your emotional competence will play a crucial role. So, hierarchy of the EI. EI and job performance. People who are unbearable or who cannot relate to others because of their above average intelligence may be successful in life, but it is only in one area, and the other areas of their life are total failures. So, working with emotional intelligence is the most important factor. Business relationship management. Your ability to manage relationships both in personal and business life are critically very important. So, anxiety, fight or flight, and disagreement, which will take you from the analysis, reflection, experience, and plan or act of the situation. Managing personal relationship. Your EI is enhanced. You can manage your personal relationships. So, relationship management and body language is also very important in the emotional intelligence. So, emotional intelligence, actions, skills, knowledge, and abilities, and then role. So, that makes you a better decision maker. And organizational dimensions and personality and internal dimensions and external dimensions, all this will be enhanced only if your EI is enhanced. So, dear friends, let us understand the leadership effectiveness. The leadership effectiveness also has 5 factors, and one of them is the emotional intelligence. Apart from the moral intelligence, social intelligence, cultural intelligence, and practical intelligence, here in the effectiveness, nowhere it is called intelligent quotient. So, it is the emotional, moral, social, cultural, and practical intelligence. Along with IQ, you will be an effective leader. So, dear friends, emotional intelligence with the leader has many effects and effects too. So, let us work on our emotional intelligence. Dear friends, let us do a worksheet now and submit it. Thank you.